Welcome back to the farm, everybody. Today we're sitting in the anemone patch and we're going to show you the 5 secrets you need to know to harvest anemones so they can last up to 10 days in the vase in your house. And without further ado, let's get to it. Secret number 1 is to harvest in the morning, which is true with most flowers. Overnight, the plant gets a chance to rehydrate itself, so it's its strongest in the morning. But there's a second reason to harvest in the morning. The anemone is sensitive to light and temperature, and the colder and darker it is, as you can see in these, it stays closed, and the warmer and brighter it is, it opens up so its pollen is accessible. They are a delicate flower, so if we harvest them when they're closed like this, it's easier to harvest more. It would be tough to have a bunch of anemones in your hand that were all open. The chances of you damaging a flower are fairly high. Secret number 2 is we're going to look for the gap in the collar. That will tell us if the flower is ready to be harvested. So the first visual clue, you can see on this bud, it's still really tight, so we know it hasn't opened yet, so we can leave those alone and ignore them. The thing we're going to look for is if the flower has been opened before, like this one here. So that's what we're going to check. And what we're going to look for is this space between the flower bud and this first set of leaves. In this particular flower right here, there's about 1/4 of an inch, so that's just about perfect. If these leaves were still up against the base of the flower, that stem is too young and it might not survive the vase and the stem would be weak and would bend over. And if this gap was longer, I'll zoom in and get some pictures too on this one here, which is probably about 1/2 inch, maybe a little more. So this is an older flower. So you could still harvest this. It's just not going to last as long. Here at the farm, we would probably take this one in the house for us to enjoy. We wouldn't sell it to the public. All right, the third secret is cutting your stem. We want to cut really deep. Obviously, we want to cut really deep so we have a longer stem for the vase. But anemones are a come again flower where the more you cut, the more buds they'll send up, as long as the growing conditions, temperature, and their environment is what they need to grow. When it does get really hot, they do peter out. But you do need to be careful, and I will zoom in here so you can see this. When you go down to cut the stem, you do need to trace it back. Ooh, and do it by hand, apologize. See if we can find some. So this right here is another flower bud. All right, so this stem right here that my finger's wiggling is that big tall one we're going to cut. And if you look right next to it, that's another flower. So we want to cut them really deep so it keeps sending these shoots up and we get more flowers, but obviously we just want to be careful so we don't cut that.
Now that you're making those deep cuts, make sure you have a cold bucket of water next to you. If the stem's exposed to air too long, air can actually get sucked up into the stem, which will stop water and nutrients getting to the flower and will shorten the vase life.
Some of these are 30 inches. If yours aren't that long yet, just keep cutting them. They'll get there. Secret number 4, now that we have our stems inside, we're going to upgrade their water. We are going to use a flower food. It does make a difference, especially in this case. There's an acidifier in most flower foods that helps the plant draw water up in its stem to keep the bloom looking good. There's an antibacterial in it to stop fungus from growing on the flower, and then sugar, which is food for the flower as well. So it does add a day or two of life to your flower. All we're going to want to do is take our stems out of the clean water. We're going to cut a 45-degree angle about 1 inch up and stick it in our new water. Step 5, now that you've done the 4 other steps, this is the pro tip. Take your new blooms and their conditioned water and put them in the fridge for a couple hours. The dark, cold temperature for 2 hours will give the stems a chance to absorb the conditioned water and will add just that little bit extra life to them in the vase. Hope you found this video helpful. Until the next one, live life in full bloom.